Actually, we're going to use that screen. I hope everybody is having a great evening. I apologize, I can't hear the intro. Um, and I'm doing a pre-recording. So I'm hoping that my intro played. I will be going into a more in-depth intro eventually, but this is just a makeshift one until I have a chance to better deep dive and actually create a video for the intro. Gosh, I don't even know where to begin other than good evening, everybody. I am Crafty True Crime. Eventually, we will have video of me doing crafts while we talk about cases. But as of right now, we're going to be doing the cases and we're going to be using um, various different sources. One of the main sources that we are going to be using right now is YouTube. Um, the two cases that I am currently following is the case of Georgia versus Melody Walker Farris, and the case of Nicole Elizabeth Virzi out of Pennsylvania. And tonight we are just going to give a brief overview. It's not going to be a super long recording, roughly 30 minutes or so, not even. I'm going to play just a little bit of introductory information about both of these cases. And then we're going to um, end the live with, just a matter of when I'm going to be live the most, and how we are going to handle covering the Melody Walker Farris case, and what I am hoping to be able to accomplish with the Nicole Virzi case as well. So without further ado, I am going to mute my mic for a minute and we are going to load up YouTube to give a brief explanation of the Melody Walker Farris case. Thank you so much to Court TV um, because I am using part of one of their videos. So bear with me for just a moment.
Melody Farris is accused of murdering her husband, Gary Farris. She's facing 3 charges: murder with malice, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and concealing the death of another. On July 5, 2018, Farris's son discovered his father's remains on a burn pile on the family property. Gary Farris was 58 years old and was a prominent attorney. He founded the Atlanta office for the regional law firm Burr and Foreman. Gary and Melody had a strained relationship, and although married for decades, they slept on different floors of their home, and she was having an affair. WXIA was at Farris's preliminary hearing.
They would meet at a hotel in Dalton, spend the day together, and then both drive back home.
The night before Farris's remains were found, Melody Farris told her boyfriend her estranged husband's body was on a burn pile.
He is on the burn pile. Rusty said in response, he said, "What?" She again said, "He is on the burn pile."
Melody Farris was arrested almost a year later in Tennessee. Investigators determined Gary died of a gunshot wound. They found a bullet in Farris's ribs. They had also found droplets of Gary's blood all over the home. Melody's attorney spoke to WXIA.
And there are a lot of things that are missing, and there are a lot of things, frankly, they didn't find. I believe, just like she told me when I first met her, she's 100% innocent of these charges.
Some of Melody's own children have publicly said they don't believe her.
How about this case out of Georgia? Today.
All right, so Thank you also to Vinnie Politan for um, doing the amazing YouTube video on that. I will link it in the description of this recorded video. Now, the interesting thing with the Melody Ferris case, I apologize for butchering her name. It's fairly late here at the moment. Um, One of the most interesting things that I find about this is the lack of a gun, the lack of any real proof, and even during the trial, many of the officers that um, had processed the scene did not take adequate samples of blood and other evidence to be able to prove who actually committed this crime. And I really feel that they are doing a disservice to Gary Ferris and his children because of the fact that there is a very good chance that Melody Ferris did not do this. I understand that she was having an affair, but so was he. Um, there had been an affair going on for quite some time between Gary Ferris and one of his secretaries. Melody Ferris had had numerous affairs as well. And from all accounts, they had lived on separate floors from each other for quite some time. Um, the next case that I want to cover is going to be the Nicole Virzi case. Um, I really appreciate um, Nancy Grace for this one. Um, I don't always agree with Nancy Grace, but she does do very good reporting a good majority of the time, and she does stick with a lot of, factual information. Um, I am not the type to go so bluntly at people, but I totally see um, where she should. I mean, she's been through so much in her life. True crime has really affected her. Um, and my heart goes out to her because I know a lot of what she has seen in the true crime community has really hardened her. And I honestly can't say that I blame her. Some of the cases that she has covered, even since I was a kid, have been pretty brutal. So I am going to again mute myself and we are going to do a quick cover of the Nicole Virzi case um, out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what I would like to see happen um, for when this trial comes up for its hearing date. And I will be following this case a little more closely than I will be the Melody Ferris case, just because this happened near where I am from. So, without further ado, here's some more information on the Nicole Virzi case.
Jarrett Ferrantino is joining us, trial lawyer and co-host of Primetime Crime on YouTube. You can find him at jarrettferrantino.com. Jarrett, in a lot of jurisdictions, judges no longer give a jury instruction to the jury about evidence of flight. That's no longer allowed for the judge to instruct the jury that flight doesn't have to be, but can be construed as evidence of guilt when someone tries to flee the scene. However, the prosecution can still argue it. Let me give a good example. Scott Peterson, that's a great example. Remember when Lacey's body had washed ashore, as well as its unborn son Connor's? Scott Peterson dyed his hair, loaded up on Viagra and condoms and a fake ID, and tried to skip town. He was caught. He also had a water purifier and camping gear. In my mind, that's evidence of flight equals evidence of guilt. So in this case, how would you differentiate the glam PhD student Virzi with Peterson?
So Nancy, consciousness of guilt is admissible in Pennsylvania. What Nicole Virzi would have to do in this case is explain away that conduct. She would say her plans for some reason changed. Anything to rebut the fact that she was trying to hightail it out of town would be something she could rebut. The argument that, in fact, she was leaving, she was on her way out of town to avoid responsibility for these charges.
Hey, Ferrantino, let me see him, please. I love what you just said. Her plans changed. When? At 3 a.m.? When did her plans change? But I do want to follow up on something that Jarrett Ferrantino says. And look, he's between a rock and a hard spot. You take your client the way you find them. What do you think you're going to get? A nun, a priest, a virgin? Sister Teresa? That's not happening, okay? Mother Teresa is not going to be your client. You're stuck with Virzi. So you've got to somehow Rumpelstiltskin. You got to spin that straw, that hay, into gold. Defense gold. So he just said that she could argue her plans had changed. Alexis Tereszczuk, crimeonline.com investigative reporter, what were her plans? I thought she was going to stay in the Airbnb a few blocks away from where the children were apparently assaulted. What plans changed? Her plan was to be there for multiple days after.
Exactly. She had at least 2 more nights on the Airbnb reservation. She was going to stay with her friend, hang out with the babies. She had emailed the owner of the Airbnb and said, I'm going to be here, just so excited to stay in your lovely place. Nothing about, I'm only staying 1 night after I was in the hospital with my friend's baby. She had definitely not planned to leave the Airbnb early.
So taking a look at this timeline to Brian Fitzgibbons, Director Operations, USPA Nationwide Security, leading a team of investigators. You can find him at uspasecurity.com. Brian Fitzgibbons, what do you make of it?
Listen, you look at the timeline when she makes that call to 911 at 11:15. All right, she already knows what's occurred inside of that house and what's happened with that baby. All right, at this time, a horrific thing has already happened. Police have now, by the time she's absconding in the early morning over that 6-hour span, right, police have had a chance to process that crime scene. That's why they were waiting outside the Airbnb when she was trying to make her escape.
So let's backtrack it to her coming home from the hospital, leaving her friend, the mom, and the dad at the hospital with baby Leon, hoping he survives. Listen.
EMTs transport Leon Katz to the hospital shortly before midnight, and his father, Ethan Katz, and Nicole Virzi drive to the hospital separately. Savannah Roberts is still at the hospital with Leon's twin brother, Ari, who is being treated for mysterious injuries to his groin area. Nicole Virzi doesn't stay at the hospital long. She's seen arriving back at her Airbnb shortly before 1 a.m., appearing nervous as she struggles to unlock the door. Grim-faced with her cell phone in one hand, she enters the door code to enter the apartment building. Virzi has to enter the code a couple of times before getting the number right and entering the building.
All right, so I know that the way Nancy did that was a little bit backwards, but I knew at the end it was going to give the timeline of, I apologize, of what had happened. So Nicole Virzi is accused of coming into the Pittsburgh area to visit one of her friends. They've been longtime friends, roughly about 10 years. And Nicole Virzi happens to bring to her friend Savannah's attention that there was some injuries to her son Ari, in his genital groin area. Um, Savannah and her husband take Ari to the UPMC Children's Hospital, where they had him getting checked out and seen. According to Nicole Virzi, she went to make Leon a bottle and had come back, and he had fallen out of a bouncer and hit his head. She had called 911. When 911 arrived, the child was unresponsive. They also took him to UPMC Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh, where he was later pronounced deceased. And with that, Nicole Virzi then went back to her Airbnb, where she then attempted to flee back to California. And it's a little weird that she tried to leave to go to California. Nobody really knows quite yet what has really occurred within the home. I am working on FOIA requests for potential evidence. I don't know how much I will be able to get because this is a juvenile involved case, but I will be putting in for any FOIA records that I may be able to obtain through this case. I will be putting in for police records, 911 calls, police body worn camera footage. I will be looking at any communications that were had between Nicole Virzi and Savannah and her husband. I will also be looking at police communications. I am also putting in for the arrest affidavit and the probable cause affidavit. I will be seeing what transcripts I can get. Also, Nicole Virzi does have a trial date. I believe it's December 15th. I could be wrong. It could be December 10th. It's one of the two. I will double check that before I come live next. But I do also have some of the docket information. I have what charges she's facing. I have her current court dates. And what that will ultimately look like. So I just wanted to give a brief update about what I will be going live with. I hope that everybody enjoyed this. It is just a small snippet of what will be to come. I am hoping once my YouTube is eligible for live videos that I will be hopping on. It should be eligible for live videos around 4 o'clock tomorrow. So I am looking to hop on sometime tomorrow evening. And I will be going over some of day one in the Melody Walker Farris case. That was the first case that I had played part of a clip from Court TV, sorry. And we will be closely following the Nicole Virzi case. I will probably make that a small update on Tuesday and following into more of the Melody Walker Farris case on Tuesday with day one. We have about 6 days of court hearings to go over so far, and the Melody Walker Farris case is expected to be a 3 to 4 week long trial. There is a lot of evidence that is being presented by both the defense and the prosecution. And I do have to say that the defense is putting on one hell of a case so far. this case is truly really wild, especially considering one of the sons was originally a suspect in the case. There was a lot of really strange things surrounding the son, but we will get more into that tomorrow. I look forward to spending at least like an hour or two with you guys talking over this case, listening to the trial. I will also, again, be linking the full video from Court TV on the Melody Walker Farris case from Vinnie Politan, and I will also be linking Nancy Grace's full video, even though we watched the full thing here, just in case you want to rewatch it on your own or watch other videos that are potentially linked to it. Again, thank you so much to Court TV, Vinnie Politan, and Nancy Grace for all of your guys' hard work. You guys are some of the biggest journalists out there, and I have followed you guys since I was younger. You guys really helped start the true crime fascination with me. So thank you guys, and I hope everybody has a great rest of their weekend.